Bang. Here we are. Pete, how the heck are you, sir?
Doing well, doing well.
You're here. Doing well. Love it. Well, I'm excited for today. We'll save some time here or create some space for people to jump into the call. But I'm excited for today because we are doing something that is very exciting. We're going to be chatting through a new feature launch that we have at Leadr. And you have been working on this feature launch for a little bit of time. So there's going to be no one better to walk us through this than Pete. But as we're getting people here into the webinar, welcome to the webinar. Thank you for joining us. We'll introduce ourselves here shortly. But go ahead inside of chat, a couple of things. If you could toggle to everyone so that everybody can see the questions or the comments or the things that you have going on. And then also feel free to engage in the conversation. This is an exciting launch for us, an exciting thing because we're actually doing something brand new today. We're breaking up a new launch. Hey there, Lauren. We're breaking up a new launch into actually two webinars. And this is the first of two webinars where we're going to be sharing about this exciting new feature launch called Personal Development Plans, PDPs. And the goal of this first webinar is really for Pete and I just to be your tour guides to the new feature, if you will. What we want to do is we want to share primarily with our current customers and partners. And I know that there are some of you here on the webinar who may be checking out Leadr or maybe aren't a customer yet, and that's great. Glad you're here. You're kind of getting an early sneak peek into something that we're getting ready to release. So glad that you're here. But what we want to do is we want to show you a couple of use cases of how we think you can best utilize PDPs, and then we want to save time for Q&A towards the end of this. So feel free to put questions in or comments in as we go. But this is really for you. This is a webinar designed entirely for our customers and those who have snuck in as well to get a sneak peek of what we're building. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have a second webinar on April 10th. And that webinar is going to be with our CEO, Matt Trester, and then our senior people manager, Nicole Jordan. And they're going to be talking through PDPs. They're going to be talking through them about why they're a critical part of like culture and business results, of examples of how we've actually built PDP tracks here, and then also sharing just some practical guides and thought leadership for getting started with PDPs. So to summarize, think of today like an insider early access into what we've built for PDPs, and then think through the second webinar as the more like the why and the how of building PDPs. So look for signups for that at a future time. But to get the conversation going here, Pete, here's what I want to know. And this is for the chat as well. When it comes to peanut butter, are we crunchy or creamy? What's the right choice here? I'm definitely crunchy. I realize that some people may disagree, but I'm 100% crunchy on peanut butter. I think it's best on sandwiches. I think it's best when I'm like dipping apples into it. I think it's the best thing to do. The other thing, wow, what do we have here? We got lots of crunchies. That's good. Thank you. I see all of you. That's great. Almond butter is a strong choice, Paul. Paul, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Sir, creamy or nothing. So Kyle, you're telling me you would rather have a peanut butter and jelly sandwich if the options were you can have whatever jelly you want or jam, and then it was like peanut butter, but the only thing available is crunchy. You would just do like a jelly sandwich. Is that what you're telling me? It's a strong take. I like it. I like it. Sticking to his principles. Hillary's in the same camp. Dawn's like, I'll eat peanut butter. I don't care, creamy or crunchy. Let's do it. Uh, all right. Well, thanks for answering. Continue to continue to get us there. Another thing that would be helpful for us to make sure that we can point to the best features or make sure that we kind of customize our time for you is give us a sense of where you and your team are at with PDPs. So if you could let us know, like, are PDPs something that you currently have in place? Yes or no? And then if they are, what's one way you think you can make them better? Okay, so if you don't have them in place, then the way to make them better would be to start doing them, right? But let's if it's something you have in place, let us know, and then also let us know how you could make it better. So let's see here. We got some Not really in place yet. Okay, so hopefully this will be helpful to you, especially as your customers. Developing, yes, using Leadr. Okay, Dana, I'm excited to show you what this looks like because this takes a lot of what we already have built and it makes it even better. Ease of use using Leadr. Okay, great. Looks like there's room. Looks like there's room to continue to improve on these things as we look through these. More consistency and experience. Nice. Yeah, Jennifer, we actually see that all the time. It's not just with PDPs, it's actually with like development and engagement and the clarity and all sorts of things. We get in a lot of organizations, you see quite a bit of disparity depending upon who the leader is, right? And so that's why we're excited to get going with these. All right. Well, let's get into the agenda and then we'll officially introduce ourselves. All right, Pete. So the agenda today is really easy. We're going to introduce ourselves and then we're going to dive right into the tool so that people can actually see what are we building, what does it look like, and we have a couple different use cases we want to walk through, and then we just want to spend the rest of the time in Q&A. So we have about 40 minutes here left in our conversation and in our webinar. So we want to make sure we spend the most time showing people what we're building and then also creating space just to do some live Q&A. So Pete, does that sound good for our time?
Perfect.
For it. Okay. So I'll introduce myself and then Pete, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself? Dan Cogswell, Director of Customer Growth here. I'm your host for today. What's fun for me is that I actually started as Leadr's first customer or customer 1B, depending upon the record you look at. Okay. But one of our first customers. All right. And now I actually get to work with and alongside our customer success team. So everybody who helps with onboarding or support or being the customer success manager, I actually get to help work alongside and help to lead that team. So it's really fun to go from being someone who saw early on the potential of what Leadr was and the need for what Leadr was, to now being able to help connect the dots for and continue to share exciting things like this with our current customers. So that's a bit about me. Pete, why don't you introduce yourself and then let's hop in.
Sure. Yeah, I'm Pete Lawrence. I'm the Senior Product Manager here at Leadr. I've been here just past my 2-year anniversary at Leadr, which is really exciting. So
Yeah.
I'll say that we've been talking about this PDP feature almost the entire time I've been here. So it was rumors and grumblings at first, but now it's really picking up steam and we are nearing the finish line of this. So real excited.
Yeah. No one better to share this with us today. And also, yeah, it is something that we've been talking about for quite some time. In fact, it's this idea of like everyone having a personalized growth plan is one of our 5 foundations and something that we believe is really important, and excited to show everyone here this because it's going to be even easier to use. And so we're looking forward to it. All right. One last thing before we hop in. For those who aren't part of the Leadr team, we have core values here, is probably isn't a shock, but one of our core values is actually to create exceptional customer experiences. And I thought it was worth sharing that with you and then sharing a couple of the subpoints because I think it's going to help us frame what we're about to get into with PDP. So there's a couple of subpoints. One is we make decisions that drive the most value for our customer. And then 2 is we believe people development starts with us, leading others from our own experience. Now, we don't get it all right, but we are continuing to focus on and grow into it. So, Pete, here's my question for you. Since you and the product team have invested so much time into building and preparing this, as well as a lot of other great stuff, but this has definitely been a focus. Can you share a bit of why PDPs were something that we chose to build for our platform as we, before we actually dive into what we've built? Can you share a little bit of the why behind it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there was a whole host of reasons why we thought PDPs were important, but there's 2 things that really stood out to me when we were considering this feature. The first is that, at Leadr as a platform, we had all these little bits and pieces of a development plan in the application already, and they've been there for a while. But when people would ask us, how can I pull all of this together into something meaningful? We didn't really have a great answer for that. And so now with PDPs in this new feature, we're able to pull it all in and help people get from point A to point B in their careers with milestones and mentorship along the way. And then the second part that really stood out for me was that your 4th bullet point there about people development starting with us. Yeah, Leadr's had a long-standing internal development program called Leadr U, and I participated in that back in this past fall, and it really became clear
Yep.
to me at that point that we should do this within Leadr, within the application, so that everybody who's a customer of ours can experience the benefits of customized growth and development plans. And it's a feature I'm really excited about. So eager to see how we're going to use it internally, as well as how our customers learn to use it.
Yeah, it's thank you for sharing that, Pete. It's definitely something that I'm personally looking forward to for myself, but also as I think about my team and some of the things that we've been thinking through and working on to have one place. It's kind of like one ring to rule them all, but not the same. So one place to connect it all inside of the tool. All right, so let me share one quote, and then we're into the tool. You'll take it away, Pete. But we were sharing some of the initial kind of wireframes or design phases of what we thought PDPs was going to look like. And one of customers, Brittany at Craig, had said, she was talking through it. She was saying, "Hey, we just developed a strategic plan for 5 years, and there's all these things that are connected to it." Well, let me just read it. Plan for 5 years, and some of those plans are leadership training, cross training, and the ability to track KPIs. We've changed our pay structure to merit and performance being part of a bonus. And then she said something that I really loved. She said, "PDPs really tie into our strategic plan, and I'm super excited about them. My boss is going to freak out." So with that, Pete, I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and then if you could share your screen and start to walk us through what these things actually look like.
Can do. Let me pull up my screen here. Okay, let me know when everyone can see that.
I can see it, so I'll assume everyone else can see it.
As long as you can see it, Dan, we're good to go.
Yeah, I did see one thumbs up pop through, so I think we're more thumbs up. Look at us, now we're cooking.
Everyone's getting excited now. Okay, I'm excited to show you some of what our development plans feature is looking like. I will preface this demonstration by saying that we are demoing this out of one of our lower environments, which means one of our currently testing environments. So we may hit a few bumps along the way, but that's part of the fun of building new products, is seeing a little bit of how the sausage is made here. But I will do my best to get you through this without any interruptions. So the first thing you'll notice is that development plans has its own new menu feature over here on the left. It is in our growth category of navigation, and this is where your plans will live, is this landing page. I'll walk a little bit through what these two tabs mean in a little bit later, but we'll start with my plans. These are the plans that I will own, and I'm logged into this platform as myself here. So I'm going to create a new plan, and the first step of creating your plan is giving it a title and a description. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quickly here. I have some saved text to save myself the embarrassment of trying to type in front of all of you people. So I'm going to go ahead and expand these dates out, but we give our plans a start and an end date. It defaults to a 3-month window. You can make that period whatever you want it to be. This is just the duration of your plan as you want to manage it within Leadr. We're introducing a concept called mentor into your plan, and this by default is the person's manager. So Paul Houston here in this case is my manager, and I can go ahead and make that any person within the organization. Like I said, it defaults to being your manager, but we realize that in some development programs and some development plans, this may be a different person within your organization. So it can be anyone within the organization. We're also introducing viewers into PDPs, and this gives people access to view your plan, and they can add comments to it. They can't update the plan or make other changes to it, but they can see the plan. They can participate in it in a comment way. I won't add any of those for now, but we'll go ahead and continue.
Yeah, Pete, this reminds me of I know Bob, one of our customers over at EUA. They have this idea of advocates who kind of serve as mentors, who aren't necessarily their managers or their direct leaders, but get to be someone who serves a quasi mentorship role, but is helping to engage in the development plan here. So,
right. Yep, for sure. So step 2 here is where we're going to go ahead and build out the plan. And like I said before, the way PDPs is structured is we're going to pull all these little bits and pieces from around Leadr into a single plan here, so that everyone has a clear picture together. And the way we structure these is under a concept we call competencies. And competencies are generally their buckets or focus areas for your plan. these are kind of the overarching aspects that you want to work on as part of your development. And so we create a competency here. We're going to work on this. This plan is about leadership development. So I'm going to work on leadership within my team. Always a good thing to work on. And then you can give that a description. So I'm going to work on developing into a strong leader within my team. We'll go ahead and add that to the plan. And I'm going to go ahead and add a second one here as well, just so you can see how that works. You can add as many of these to your plan as you want. We'll be providing some recommendations and some guidance around the way to design and build these plans to be most effective. You don't want them obviously to be gigantically long, like they're going to take multiple years to complete, but you probably want them to be more than a month or so of work. So you may want to have a handful of these competencies in a typical plan. The other thing you'll notice here is that there's this timeline across the top, and based on the start and end dates of the plan that I entered, you'll see those represented here. And as we start to build out the plan, what we're going to do is we're going to click this add button over here, and we can add any of these items from within Leadr to our plan. So goals, learning, feedback, action items, recognition, accomplishments is a new concept that I'll talk about in a little bit, and meetings as well. So if we start to add goals, from this page, you'll get this pop-up window where you can create a new goal that's immediately attached to your plan. Or if you have goals that are already existing, you can add those to your plan here as well. These are goals that you own so that you can have them right here. They are limited to the goals that are being worked on during the duration of your plan between, in this case, March 11th and August 31st. And we'll pretend for the sake of this demo that I already have all of these goals created so that, maybe coming out of my review that's just finished, these are goals that my mentor and I have decided to work on.
Yeah. So real quick, Pete, while you're touching on this, one of the questions, and I appreciate everyone asking questions. We'll definitely get to these, but one of the questions that was asked was, will this be replacing goals, or how do you see a PDP interacting with goals? So because you're chatting about it right now, maybe you could touch on those real quick.
Sure. No, this won't be replacing any of those features within Leadr. All of those features will still be independent and standalone. And anything you create here will also show up, in this case, in the goals feature section within Leadr.
So it's a PDP can, it won't replace, it's new, but it won't delete anything for what we're doing. And then the other thing would be, you can actually pull goals into a personal development plan. So you can actually connect those inside of a personal development plan and utilize goals to build the plan, right?
Correct. Yep. If I went to the goals feature right now, all of these goals that are listed would be there as well.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, so the first one I'm going to add to this plan is empower and motivate team members. So I'll select that. I'll click add goal. It's going to go ahead and link that up to my competency for leadership within my team. And so you'll see that here, and you'll see that the due date on this is August 3rd. I'm going to go ahead and add one more goal here. Just go ahead and lead by example. That sounds like a good goal for team development. I'll add that to here. And so you'll see the due date on this one is June 29th. Now, the next thing you'll notice is that this timeline starts to populate with these items as I add them to my plan. So you'll see June 29th and August 3rd. So you'll start to see all of these activities as you add them to your plan, build out this timeline. And we can add some additional ones here as well. Let's see, decision-making skills sounds like a good one to put on my personal development. And maybe enhanced communication skills. All right, so there's some goals added to those competencies. Now I can also add other things here, as I mentioned, so we can put in some action items on here. This works very much the same way. These action items all exist within the action items feature of Leadr. You can have them, you can create new ones within the PDP that are also available there, or you can link ones that you already have existing. We do have a search in here, so I could search for the action item that I'm looking for. Just like that. I'm just going to add a few here to help our timeline look really nice.
You're really building this thing out.
Well, we're trying to get a good example of what this might look like.
Yeah.
One more, just so we have it. Oops.
Pete, something that maybe not, I don't want to sidetrack you, but one of the questions that came through early on, you wrote mentor there, so it reminded me, but was, is choosing a mentor required? And then the second question was, what if it's a personal development plan? So I think that question meaning, what if I just want to own it and do it, but I'm not necessarily inviting anybody else into the conversation? How would you respond to that?
Sure. Mentor is a required field. It's a required concept within our PDPs. We structured this around the concept of developing within your organization. And so we expect that to be a really strong collaboration between the person who owns the plan and the person who's the manager or the mentor in this case, so that you have some collaboration and some work on these things. Down the road, we may add the option for them to be standalone without without other participants. And of course, the concept of viewers in your plan is completely optional. You don't have to add any viewers if you don't want to.
Yeah, sure. Helpful. Another thought or response to Emma, I see that you said thank you, but if you really wanted something to be totally personal and not something that was shared with the mentor, you might be able to create like a personal goal and just work with a goal and connect action items and things. But that's a different webinar, different conversation, something else that we can get to. But yeah, there we go.
Great.
All right, Pete, keep rolling. You're doing great.
Cool.
I know I keep interjecting while you're building it out.
You're fine. You're fine. Okay, so I've got some goals and some action items here. I'll skip past the other aspects of it just for the moment. Last one I added here is facilitating professional development opportunities within a development plan about leadership development. It's very Inception-like, but we'll move on and pretend that doesn't confuse anyone. So you'll see that again, that the timeline's building out here as items are added. If they're really close together in date, we group them here, and you can click to expand that to see what those things are.
Nice.
All right. So once your plan is built out roughly as you want it to look, you've got all the pieces added to it, you're going to submit this plan. And so this is where the mentor really comes into play, because this gives you the mentor an opportunity to review the plan, to look at it. It's not a strict sort of approve, deny sort of scenario. It's more of a review and offer feedback and suggestions on it, perhaps. So when you hit submit, this goes into a status called pending mentor review. You'll see that my mentor is Paul, and he's there. I will walk through what that mentor view looks like here in just a few minutes. I have to switch to a different user to do that. So we'll do that as soon as we get through here. But this is the plan landing page, and this is where the majority of the action on your development plan takes place. And so you'll see all the steps that we added to the plan are listed here. Again, these are goals that are within Leadr, so you can click on these. You can view anything that's happening with the goal, the action items that are underneath those. I can go ahead and update the status of the goal here if I want. Anything that you can do on a regular goal is part of a PDP goal as well, and they're still there. So that's all there. We've introduced this new concept called accomplishments, and this is specifically part of a PDP plan. And the way this works is I can add an accomplishment, and it just adds it to your plan as something you've done. So this might be, I'll add one in here really quick so we can kind of get an idea of what this looks like. So if I gave the update for my team at the all hands meeting, I'm going to push this out into the future a little bit so that you can see that I did that. This is just a
spoke in front of you.
Look at that.
Let's
okay,
see.
well, we won't actually add that accomplishment today.
But you did it without passing out or blacking out during the update too, Pete. So let's not forget that important piece of it.
So that would add an accomplishment to your plan, and it's a way to track things that are happening during your plan that they're not a goal or an action item that you need to complete later on. It's something you've done. And again, maybe that's speaking at an all hands meeting, maybe that's presenting at a conference, maybe that's getting a paper published. Whatever the case may be, you can add those to your plan as part of the record of your plan. You can also attach recognition to your plan. So if you have recognition as part of Leadr, you can add those things when you are recognized, and you can attach those to your plan as something that someone recommended for you.
Nice. Are you going to talk about discussion?
We're going to talk about discussion right now.
Come on, Pete. That part that may be one of the most exciting things for me. I love the ability to pull all these pieces together into one place. But talk to us about discussion. I'll be quiet so you can do so.
Sure. Yep. Discussion is is a place for you and any other participants in your plan to have comments and feedback and questions answered about your plan. So anybody who is the mentor or viewers of your plan can add to the discussion. We're posting status update changes here as well, so that you can keep an eye on what's happening with your plan, and you have all of that
Nice.
sort of in a history log here. And you can add these comments. I know that the comment button isn't working right now, so I'm not going to click that, but this is where that would be when those things show up, and it'll show the full history. Like I said, and you can kind of scroll through those and see updates that
Okay.
are made to the plans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Well, where next?
Well, let me switch over to what the manager view looks like. And I'm going to stop sharing and share a different screen here.
Something as you're doing that, Pete, a question that was just asked was, will we get any type of notification when someone comments or updates a discussion inside of a PDP?
That is part of our plan. It's to have notifications when comments are added, and notifications when things are added and removed from your plans. We're still finalizing the exact list of when a notification will be sent, but those things will be part of it.
Okay, so there should be a way to see that. And as a reminder, Pete, for those who maybe didn't catch it as you were about to dive in, this is something that we're like tweaking all the last final bits. We're making sure everything's working correctly. So some of these places where you didn't show or where it didn't show correctly, those are things that we're actively scrubbing right before we get ready to push that, and that's all part of the process. So all good there.
Great. All right, so I've switched users now, and now I'm logged in as Paul Hewson here. I am, that's my manager, I suppose. So I've logged in as him, and I've switched over to this other plans tab. So when you go into my plans, these are the plans that you own, that you've created. Other plans are, if you're a manager, these are where your direct reports plans will show up. If you're an admin or an executive users, you can search and find plans from others within your organization. Or if you're a viewer or the mentor of another person in your organization, and as part of that plan, those would show up here. So you can do some filtering and some sorting to get to those. But in this case, I can see my plan, and I can see that there are 0 of 7 items completed. What the next item due is, and the current status of it, this says it's pending mentor review. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this and come in here. And this gives me a full view of Pete's plan. That's my plan. And I'll still see that it's in pending mentor review. I can go ahead and click on these things and kind of see what's happening with them to make sure that this plan makes sense to me and that it looks like it's got everything on there. If everything looks good here, I can complete plan review. And this gives me an opportunity as the mentor to add some comments here. So I'll get some information here. So this is an opportunity to not just say, hey, it looks good, but you can also add feedback here as well. And this, when I submit it, this will put the plan into active status, as you'll see here, and that comment shows up down here in the discussion. So next time I log in to see my plan, or when I get a notification that this has happened, I'll log in and see my plan, and then I can go ahead and take some action to add an action item, potentially about registering for a public speaking class as part of my competency for personal leadership.
Nice.
Okay,
Well, great, Pete. What's next that you want to show us, or do you do you have space for some questions?
I think let's switch to some questions. Those are the
Okay.
key concepts of PDPs, and I can jump back in and
Great.
show other things if there's questions about them.
Okay, great. Well, let's do that then. So let me scroll back up here. Questions for what is coming. One of the questions everybody wants to know is, when is this actually going to be released to everybody? They're like, this is cute. We love it, Pete. Thank you very much. But when can we get our hands on it? That's what they want to know.
Okay. Part of my role as the product manager, and this is Dan's favorite phrase, is for me to be as specifically vague as possible. And the best answer for this right now is early April. So we are entering our internal beta period with this in the next couple of days, and assuming everything goes well there, we are a few weeks away from releasing this to users.
I appreciate your specifically vague answer, but it is one of those where we certainly It is coming very, very soon. And it's something that we will make sure you can't miss. So we'll make sure you get notifications. We'll make sure that it makes it obvious where it is, to get it released and actually get your hands on it. The second question that people wanted to know was, what do you have to pay for, or what does it cost? I can show some of the packaging here towards the end, but if you already have our Leadr Plus package, which includes several other things like insights and recognition, as well as everything else in the tool, it will be included. So you have the right package. You'll get everything that you need. If you have Leadr Lite or Leadr Core, there is an option to upgrade to the Leadr Plus package, which includes not only PDPs that are coming, but some of those other pieces as well. So we'll walk through that, and the best thing to do would be to either have a conversation with your CSM, or we'll provide an email that you can reach out here specifically at the end so we can talk through your specific details. But that's the release date ish, and the packaging of what's included to make it happen. All right, let me go back through some more of these things. Dun, 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 dun. So notifications. Emma, you were asking about how can you make plan steps more tangible? So you said, for example, a step listed is lead by example, but what does this look like on a tangible level, if that makes any sense? You can add a step description for sure. You can also take a goal and then inside of it have action items that are connected to how you're tangibly going to accomplish that specific goal. One of the things that we're going to do, this is actually phase one of what we plan to release with PDPs. We have much bolder ambitions for what this will continue to grow into and become. But something that we're going to do as we release this first phase of PDPs is we want to provide examples. We want to provide some ways that could demonstrate, hey, here's how you can actually utilize this tool, whether you're on the front lines as an individual contributor, or whether you're somewhere in the middle of leading people, or leading people who lead people, and how you can practically utilize this feature and this tool to focus on your development. So we hope to provide more examples of that for you as we go. Let's see here. And I'm just rolling through these. So Pete, if you have anything to add or comment, please hop in as always. Josh was asking about, the question was around notifications. And is the idea push notifications or email? Do you have an idea of what that might look like at the moment?
Yeah, currently it'll be email. That's the notification method that we have within Leadr at this point. There may be additional options coming.
Tease. What a tease. You never know.
Specifically vague.
You never know. Okay. Okay. All right. We'll keep going. Let's see here. John said, if you're in a group working through a book as part of a PDP, love it. Is there a way to make it collaborative for the group? Good question. I have an idea on how we could solve this, but Pete, I'd be curious for your response there.
Yeah, there's a couple ways you could go about this. And probably one of the easiest ways is to have the competency be, read the book. And then you can set goals around with milestones for, what chapters you want to have finished by what point,
Sure.
what dates and times. You can also attach learning to a PDP so that you can create a learning assignment within Leadr and then attach that to people's plans. And that book, or if it's a video or a podcast or whatever the case may be, could also be part of your plan.
Yeah, great. So it would be, I think what I'm hearing is the PDP cannot be a group PDP. However, goals or some of these other pieces can be connected to a group that then can be part of your individual PDP. Am I
correct?
Interpreting that correctly? Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Great. Oh, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to share my screen again for Q&A time. So let's be sure we do that. Okay. Where is my chat? All right. So let's keep working through these. All right. How can we get plans in a group? Yep. Side quest. I love it, Maria. Maria was asking, can we basically adding a filter, like a manager filter or filter by maybe role inside of the people category to simplify navigation? Is that something that is possible or on the roadmap?
It's something we're definitely aware of as a pain point. So
Got it.
I don't have a timeline of when we could do that, but it should be in the cards pretty soon.
Nice. So Maria, You just voted for that. The other thing that you can do, Pete, if people want to interact and provide input or ideas into what we're building inside the tool, where would they go do that inside of our app or our platform?
Yeah, inside of Leadr, when you're in there, there's a question mark beacon down in the bottom right corner. You can click on that. And at the bottom of the list of options, there is one for our ideas portal. And anybody can go and add ideas to that portal. We do monitor those. We do see them when they come in, and we try to categorize them and prioritize those as they get activity within them. So don't feel like you're just putting your question into a black hole that no one ever looks at. We do look at
Yeah.
them. I personally look at them pretty regularly. So
Yeah.
try to keep up with what's there.
Yeah, I can. I also can personally attest to when where I was at before we bought the tool. What it was then and what it is now is wildly different as far as what features are available and how robust the tool is. The vision and the mission are the same, but what the tool is has grown tremendously. John, let's see here. Another question, quick one. As a goal updates, we'll update and add progress to the PDP. So as you're updating the goal and maybe you're updating the status of that, how will that impact a PDP's progress?
Right. So if you attach a goal to your PDP, any changes you make to the goal will be reflected through the view of that goal within your PDP as well. We aren't linking completion of goals to completion of your development plan. However, the development plan is really time-based, and so you'll see that there's a blue part of the timeline that will be progressing as the date passes essentially in your plan. And when you've completed that goal, when it's marked as completed, the icon in the timeline turns blue so that you know you've done that. But they aren't tied together in terms of I've completed 5 goals and therefore I'm now done with my plan automatically.
Yep. Nice. Okay, so this is I'm going to take 2 questions and combo meal them. Okay, so Brooke was asking about PDPs connected. If it's like a multi-year PDP, so how is it connected to reviews? Um, I would say great. Break your PDP into bigger or into smaller chunks so that you can find your way. But Bob was also asking, hey, how will PDPs work alongside or within reviews? So we're going to be able to reference or do our reflections for PDPs and reviews, or how do you see those tying together, Pete?
Yeah, it won't be part of our initial rollout phase for development plans, but we do have eyes to be able to link together development plans and reviews so that you can add them as a reflection. All of the other parts of that plan are obviously already available as reflections inside of reviews, but we don't have a stronger connection than adding the plan as a reflection at this point. We may get there. I don't see them replacing reviews. I see them as part of a year-long development process for a person, or a 6-month development process, depending on how long you go between review cycles. But essentially, the review is more of a hey, we did this. A check-in
Like
point.
memorializing what
Memorialization.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Of what happened, that this is done, and then the plan is what happens in between reviews.
Got it. Yep. Let's see here. What else? Yeah, we will definitely provide some templates and examples, especially here's what's interesting. At the beginning of our conversation, those who responded said that there was either nothing in place or what they had in place was something that they were developing or that it felt like it wasn't necessarily as strong as they would like the culture to be around like PDPs. And so for us, the worst thing that we could do is give you a tool and say, look how great this is, and then not provide you some examples or some ways to really utilize that and make the most of it. It's kind of like, hey, it'd be like, hey, here's a Ferrari, good luck. And you're like, I don't know how to drive this. Or like an F1 formula racing car. And you're like, I don't know what all these buttons on the steering wheel are. So we want to help provide templates and examples for you all to utilize so that you can be most effective with PDPs. So that's there. Let's see here. Oh, John, you said so learning can be group related. Meaning you can assign it to a group of people and you could track the learning through there that could be connected to a PDP. Yeah. So that's there. All right. Well, let's do this. And then if we have any other questions that come in, we'll work to answer them. But also we want to make sure that we respect everyone's time and we're already at 40 minutes in, Pete. We have less than 5 minutes left. I don't know if you can believe that or not, but here we are. Okay, so let's take a look at. We have just a couple more slides for us. wanted to pull the packaging so that you all could see it, like what's included inside of Leadr Core and what's included inside of Leadr Plus. And you can see that there's several pieces that are not part of Leadr Core, like surveys, insights, recognition, the ability to do single sign-on for your organization, and then PDPs that are going to be coming soon. So feel free to reach out to your CSM, or let me get here. Let's get to this next slide. All right, where you can reach out to success@leadr.com, and we'll send you some things there. But Pete, I'm going to be wrapping us up here soon. So any last, I like the question, the last 5%. So anything you haven't said that you want to make sure you say, or anything that you said that you got to double down on. You got to make sure that you leave as a statement or an exclamation point before we wrap our time here.
Yeah, the big piece for me is that as the product manager, I'm interested to hear everyone's feedback as we start to get this into the hands of our users. So if you've got ideas, if you've got feedback, opinions on things, fire them over. Nothing will offend me. So just send it over, and we will see about what we can get into the product and future phases of this.
Yeah, love it. I'm really excited for this to launch, and proud of the work that we've done here. I know that it means a lot, and I think it's going to fill a need and be a really helpful tool for our partners. And so we're really excited to bring this to you and to launch this new feature. And for me, something that I'm thinking about is kind of this first phrase under PDPs around this slide, and it's the best next step for every employee. I think what's interesting about that is sometimes it's easier to identify the right next step or the easiest next step, especially for someone who's maybe it's their first role, or it's an entry-level position, or maybe they're an individual contributor, where it's like, oh, hey, here's some serious, like some essential skills or things that we can easily layer on to help you grow. But I do think that it's the best next step for everyone, because regardless of where you're at, whether you're the founder or the CEO or somewhere as a director or wherever you're at in the organization, I think we all have opportunities to grow. And so my encouragement would be, as this gets launched, start simple. It doesn't have to be this comprehensive, how are you going to grow from where you are now to being the supreme leader of the universe, in 6 months. It's one of those where just start simple. Maybe it's reading a book, as some of you mentioned together. Maybe it's just, maybe it's having an intentional conversation with somebody else in the industry or in a similar role. I mean, there's a lot of simple steps you can take. And so my encouragement would be, when this gets launched over the next few weeks, hopefully sooner rather than later, that you take it and that you utilize it and you give us feedback so that we can help to make it better, but also so we can continue to deliver features that are going to create the most value for you, our customers. So that's the last thought for me. Let's see here. I think that's it, Pete. You know what?
Yeah.
We're going to wrap 2 minutes early. I don't know that I've ever done that on a webinar, but we're doing it because mission accomplished. We showed everybody things here. Please feel free to reach out with questions, connect with your CSM or an email to success@leadr.com. But we can't wait to release this to you. And a reminder that we have another webinar coming up to talk more thought leadership and more examples on April 10th. Details coming soon. All right. See you, everybody.